How you doing? It's Little Tommy coming at you from sunny downtown Nashville, Tennessee. I know it's been a while, but I'm back. Homeskoolin number 78. I hope all is well out there and you guys are doing great. Hope everybody's surviving the endless crashing blows of 2020. What a year, my friends. What a year. Wow. Let's see, what's been going on lately? Lots of sessioneering, taking care of those boys, enjoying this beautiful fall weather. Man, it's been gorgeous around here. I mean, I just live for this time of year, as you well know. My love of the fall weather is well documented. Here's a cool guitar. Check it out. 69 Les Paul. Custom with a 3-piece neck and the crazy waffle tuners. I just got this yesterday. I went down to Rumble Seat on 8th Avenue and did some horse trading with my old buddy Elliot and all the lads down there. Tobin, sweet little Dougie, Drex. We had a good time, man. I love that place. And I walked out of there with this thing and an old 65 Strat. And man, it was fun. We had a few beers, had a few laughs, good times. Let's see, I also wanted to say thank you guys for supporting Farmland, my favorite breakfast restaurant, man. Eric and Judy have told me that you guys have been coming in there and helping support the place. And man, I appreciate that. That's a great place. And I really thank you guys for going down there and enjoying a Session Man sandwich. I also wanted to thank a couple guys for sending in some amazing pedals. Tim Waters sent this old rat. Dude, you didn't have to do that. Thank you. And a guy named Craig Snyder from CR Guitars sent a care package, including this old Cornish Big Muff, man. This thing is awesome. Man, you guys, way above and beyond the call. Thank you for the generosity. Uncle Larry appreciates it very much. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. We got a few things in the VCB for you. One guy said, "Hey Tom, do you prefer having a guitar resting on your right leg versus in front of your crotch? I notice you go back and forth. Is the tone different?" Serious question. Yeah, you'll see me in videos in the studio holding the guitar all kind of different ways, like awkwardly sometimes. But the only reason I ever do that is because of the noise. I'm always trying to find the quietest place to point the guitar for the RF noise, because all studios have certain places that are quieter than others, It's hard to get to get a guitar sound real quiet without any buzz or noise. Some studios are worse than others, I've noticed. But yeah, the hum dance, we call it, where you're just always trying to point the guitar at the place where you can get the least amount of RF stuff. Because believe me, those engineers are all over your ass when your rig is noisy. They're all over you. Hey, Book, any way you can quiet that down a little bit? Need a ground lift, buddy? Okay, here's another one. Uncle Larry is talking about American politics even allowed on a session. Man, honestly, I wish it wasn't, but you know, it used to hardly ever be talked about, but man, these days everybody's talking about it. But not little Tommy. Little Tommy does not engage in that stuff. And also talk of religion. I just don't. There's no point. That's why I stay away from the social medias, Facebooks, Instagrams, all that stuff. I believe every man should keep their beliefs to themselves. That's just my old school way of thinking. But yeah, it's a divisive time in history right now, and man, there's just so many people on sessions talking about all that stuff, and I don't blame them. It's a fascinating subject, but I always sort of go in the other room and get a coffee with half and half. Maybe try to find a little, you know, croissant or something to go with it. Yeah. Here's another one. A guy said, "Hey Tom, thanks for sharing all this experience with us mortals. I looked down at my pick the other day and hadn't realized how worn the shoulder of it was. Almost seems foreign now to play with the tip. Thanks, or cheers from Canada." Man, yeah, the tone control, man, the pick. Lots of talk about that in my old videos, how you should go back and forth between the shoulder and the tip, the pointed part, for different sounds. Very useful. Another guy said, "Hey Tom, I used to dislike both AC/DC and Bob Seger when I was younger. Now that I'm 42, I feel like I understand what they're saying, lyrically and musically. Wild how something can just be sitting there and you change around it. Music is awesome." Absolutely, man. I totally agree with that. I found that to be true in my life. There's been things that I've, with both music and food, that you sort of didn't like when you were younger, and then as you get a little older, you appreciate it more and more, I think that's just, that's normal for people, sometimes you just don't get stuff when you're young, I'll tell you what song I've been tripping out on lately, an old Jerry Lee Lewis song. I've been listening to it over and over. You ever heard a song called Middle Age Crazy by Jerry Lee? It's from like 1977, I think. Man, that song is amazing. There's a bug flying around, sorry. That song is amazing and the lyrics are incredible. Check that one out. It's a great old country song. But yeah, I've also found that some music that I used to really love when I was younger, I don't really dig it anymore. I've sort of grown out of it, It's funny to listen back to an old record that you haven't heard in a long time and see how it stands up, in your mind, if it still holds up the way it did. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, music is a crazy thing, man. Speaking of Bob Seger, I got another guy on a totally different comment. He said, regarding Seger, Rich Zito's slide solo on Like a Rock is super fine, but Night Moves is in a class by itself. He means Rick Vito. There was two guitar players with similar names, but Rick Vito is the guy that played that slide solo on Like a Rock. I actually was in a band with Rick Vito years ago, 2000. Him and I both played rhythm guitar for John Fogerty, touring Europe, opening for Tina Turner. Rick's an amazing guitar player and a super cool dude. We used to play poker on the bus all the time and talk about guitars. He's a good dude. I'll never forget, funny story regarding Rick Vito. I had always known that he had played that Like a Rock solo, right? So I remember at one of the rehearsals in the early days when we were first getting the band together, I said, "Man, dude, killer solo on Like a Rock, man." I go, you remember what you played on that?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it was an old Les Paul Jr. into a Dumble that I had." And I go, "Oh man, it's incredible, man, really great sound." And I said, that the only other slide solo I've ever heard that really spoke to me like that was that old Jackson Browne song, "Tender as the Night." And I had, in my mind, I thought that was David Lindley all this time playing that. And Rick goes, yeah, same guitar, same amp. And I was like, what? I go, you played that too? And he was like, yeah, man, that's me playing that on the same guitar and the same amp. He goes, that's the best compliment I've ever gotten. You know, that's what he said, because I didn't even know that he played that. But man, Rick is a bad boy. I don't know if you guys ever listened to him, but he played with Fleetwood Mac for a while, and I haven't seen him in ages. But if you see this, Rick, hello from your old buddy. We used to play poker with matchsticks on the bus and use the matchsticks as our chips, you know. And we drop them in the pot like. Tsh. The old days, back when I was a young man. Okay, one more here. Let's see. A guy said, "Hey Tommy, if I could play like that, I would totally move to Nashville and be a session man." Thank you, thank you. You know, man, I'll tell you this. I was thinking about this last week on some of my sessions that I was on. Some of the stuff you do when you're a session man is so unglamorous, man. I mean, I remember we were working on this, we were trying to do a remake last week of old Tammy Wynette song, Stand By Your Man, which is dangerous to even ever attempt something like that when something is such a classic piece. You got to approach that with great care, and we tried to do a different version of it, but I remember it ended up being like a thing. I rolled the tone control down and the neck pickup and did like a 6/8. So that kind of thing, right? With the real dark sound, sort of arpeggiating through the chords. And I'll tell you this, you know, to play that is one thing, but to play that when somebody says, okay, so the whole intro is going to just be you and her in the click, and it's just the vocal and the guitar and the click, and you're totally exposed, naked, out front in the track like that, and it's just every single little thing you do is so noticeable on the recording that it's like you start getting in your own head thinking, man, a little finger squeak or anything, it just starts to spook you, you know? So you got to try to play freely and not make any mistakes. And it's just, that's the part of being a session man that is almost impossible to explain to people. Like, you see this stuff and you think, yeah, I could play that. You know, it's not that complicated, really. But when you have to play it on the spot and make it perfect in front of everybody with like no rehearsal, it's pretty amazing how mental and how much that can mess with your mind. You know, something like sometimes a very seemingly easy part can just really screw with you, you know? You got to be an Iron Man when you're a session man. You got to have like ice water running through your veins, man. I'm telling you, it's a crazy job. But yeah, that's the part you don't really realize until you're in the heat of battle. I suppose it's that way in sports as well, you know? Like, people look at a guy making an amazing catch on a football field. You think, oh, I could do that, you know? But really, can you do that when it's the heat of battle and it's like an important game and a million people are watching? The pressure is what gets you, you know? So there you go. A little view about session playing there. I'm gonna leave you guys alone, but I'm gonna show you a cool lick. A little crazy blues thing. I probably already showed you this, but I can't remember what I showed you and what I didn't because it's been 100-some episodes, but here's a lick for you. Like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes in repetition. Key of B. Crazy lick. It's like an organ lick, right? So you gotta go 7, 5, sharp 4, 4, flat 3, 1. You You got to get a roll going, like so that it sounds like. It's kind of a hard lick to play, but once you get it going, you can get it rolling. Like. There you go. Blues lick for you. All right, guys. Take care. See you soon.